everyone knows what happened with PayPal, which was they sent out a new user agreement, which I put, like, I read these all the time. And it was, they just keep squeezing tighter, 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 tighter. So the last one was, we can deplatform you at our discretion, for no reason, and we'll seize all the money in your account. So it was like, okay, I'm aware, no longer keep any money in PayPal. This new one was, we can seize your account, delete your account for any reason based on offline activity at our discretion, and we'll fine you for damages $2,500. And it was like, oh, that's going to be super interesting. So then it was like everyone deleting their PayPal and their stocks plummeted. I'm trying to think where to go to this. My head is going in so many directions. I don't want to delete PayPal for one reason. They have really good customer service. In a sea of weaponized customer service where there isn't any anymore, I get the best service from PayPal, and they're so nice and they're so responsive. And so that keeps me wanting to use them. So I was just like, let me just watch and see how this goes, because it wasn't until November 3rd that everything was going to be implemented, and it would give me time to get everything off. I got an email today from No Agenda. John C. Dvorak is having like a freak out that everyone has canceled their PayPal donations and they're in like kind of emergency. And he was giving the same perspective I was, which is PayPal has really good customer service. Like they're actually a really good, similar to self-publishing on Amazon. I know all the reasons why it sucks and it's shifting a little bit, but it has been great customer service. So I called PayPal yesterday and I'm like, where are we at with this? Like, I know you guys are rolling it back. So contrite, so apologetic. So the pendulum is swinging the other way of like.
Well, let me ask you real fast. What did you ask? So you called your friend at customer service because you like them so much. And I'm guessing that after me, they're your favorite people to talk to on the phone.
I talk to them as much as I talk to you. I mean, it's just in a sea of dwindling customer service.
Anytime I can get like a person on the phone with like a big company like that I can have a back and forth conversation with, where we understand each other and that is nice and friendly and gives me their name and asks if there's anything else I can do, right? At this time, like, yeah, I agree with you. Both Amazon and PayPal, I've always gotten, if I've done emails about something or phone calls, I've gotten responses within a reasonable amount of time. And I can't say that about any of the other companies that I work with that I pay way more money to, like Patreon. Locals has great customer service too. Locals is great.
Locals is great. Sometimes there's a little bit more of a lag. Obviously, PayPal's much bigger than Locals.
Right.
The other upside to Locals is they're all native English speakers who I'm guessing in North America, which is also super rare. So here's my thing, is that I've noticed like other people in our podcast tribe and other people in the truther movement saying like, hey, this is a sign of where it's going. So everyone get off.
Okay, hold on 1 second before you go there, because I do want to go there. But I just want to ask you, when you called your friend at PayPal, what was exactly the question? Like, what question did you pose to her? Hey, I love that you have customer service, so I don't really want to leave, but this is a problem for me. And what is actually going on?
Okay, so what I asked was, hey, I know you guys made this big oopsie. And the customer service guy was like, please don't take it out. Like his whole thing was like, I'm not higher up. It's not my decision. I don't have an opinion here. And I'm like, dude, you're safe with me. Like, I hear you. I was like, my question was, okay, you sent out this fascist announcement and then you've lost a ton of customers and your stocks plummeted, but I haven't gotten a revised agreement. So help me feel comfortable continuing to do business with you. I need something in writing that says you're not going to be fining me, that you're not going to be thought policing me. P.S. like, this is my trump card is, like, not only am I a professional journalist, I do have a master's degree in journalism. So if you're going to attempt to accuse me of misinformation, you're going to have to pull out some pretty major stops to prove that you know more about the truth landscape that I do. So like, let's get that on the public record. But what I was asking for was like, I need to see in writing what your new user agreement actually is,
Right.
so that I can stay comfortable doing business with you. And this was fun. So he and I went through the website together. They're in limbo. They don't have any legal updates on their website right now. They're in scramble mode. So whereas most of the people in our community that I've seen are like, get off, I'm like, no, because this is such a big oopsie. Now they're going to have to kiss my ass even more. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, they're going to have to roll it back really far. So I actually feel like the customer's in pole position with PayPal right now versus everyone else who's jumping ship. And I also disagree that this is a sign of where it's going. I think the reaction was so strong that they know that they can't pull this. Now they're going to have to pull back and start respecting their customers. This is my 2 cents. I also feel like I'm going to pass out.
Ooh.
So I might need to grab a little bit of food.
Okay, let's just push pause and go grab a snack.
Okay.
Okay, so a couple of things. So with one of the I never looked at the user agreements on PayPal until you started telling me that you were obsessed with reading them. So then I did start looking, and I decided a couple of months ago, I stopped getting my Patreon payment, which is my biggest payment, to PayPal, and I shifted that straight into my bank account. Right. So now, like, only I basically use PayPal to pay for other things now. And occasionally, you know, I'll have some payment come in through there, but I generally either move it off really quick or just use it to cover what other little things are there. But I stopped moving a lot of money through PayPal. And so I'm less anxious about it now. But one of the things, so I think there's a couple of things going on. Like, what do you think that was about? Do you think that it was a test run? Do you think it really was an accident? What do you think happened? You think they were trying it on for size and then they just backpedaled and pretended? Like, what do you think the truth was?
Do you think it was an accident? Fuck no.
I don't think it was I don't think that. But like, why I don't understand why they would have thought that would be okay. Like, the week before they did that, they were already starting to face court action in the UK about like bringing them under the same kind of controls that that banks are under because of what they did to a couple of human rights groups. So like, I don't understand why they would have thought they would have been able to get away with it right now. Like, maybe during the height of COVID, they could have gotten away with that, but I don't understand why they would think they could get away with it now.
I think everything right now is a test. I think what's going on with Rashida Tlaib is a test. I think what's going on with what we just saw with Tulsi and Joe is a test. I think it's another test. They might have determined this timeline of rollout a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, you know? So I think because there hasn't been pushback when, like, you know, all these journalists have had their accounts seized and deleted, it's like, well, maybe I can get away with this and maybe I can get away with this. So I think it was like they thought they were going to get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and they didn't realize, because before it was like, well, we can seize up to $2,500 from what's in your PayPal balance.
Right.
But this was like, no, now we're just going to charge you $2,500, even if it's not in your PayPal.
Oh, okay. I didn't get that. Okay, yeah.
So they'd gone way over. And for whatever reason, like, there was enough people deleted their accounts that they, you know, that they pulled it back. I think they're lying. It was not a test. It was not a mistake at all. I think it was like, oh, we could get away with this much fascism, right. Oh, too much fascism. So now we're going to make up this story that was a mistake. Obviously, it wasn't a mistake.
So I think a couple of things. So I think, I have no love for PayPal necessarily, but I think there's this push, that hashtag delete your PayPal, right? And everybody being like, you need to do that now. Like, to me, just, of course, there's like a part of me that says, yes, of course we should delete our PayPal, right? Like, we should delete all this shit. Like, right. But there's another part of me that is like, well, okay, there's not any obvious, much better kind of thing. And so if everybody moves to some other thing that seems better now, like, it could just be in 6 months that they're doing the same thing. And then we're just all playing hopscotch and creating disruptions in our business and losing, you know, customers and things along the way. So I never do anything like right at the moment like that. I generally kind of wait and see how it plays out a little bit. But I've seen like a couple of things that make me suspicious. And then the conversation I had with Howdy and Michael about it yesterday, and I'll tell you what we were kind of talking about was obviously like Dan Bongino has a new payments thing. And whenever there's a like equal but opposite partisan kind of solution, like I'm suspicious of that, because it may be like, I wouldn't surprise me if someone like Dan Bongino was like, you can't criticize Israel, or you can't, you know what I mean? Like, so there's no, whenever
also the timing of it.
The timing of it. So I'm suspicious of that, because that part is sort of being like promoted, and it's going along with around the same timing as Rumble going public and all of this other kind of stuff that's happening. And, you know, Rumble's better than some of the others. It's not perfect. Like, you know, there's issues with each and everything. Right. But it's like, okay, so you can do that one. There's Stripe. Stripe only works for certain things. Like some things you can't use Stripe for. But then also, what else is? But right.
Stripe doesn't. Because I moved after PayPal's last user agreement.
Right.
I moved my whole business off of PayPal onto Stripe. But it doesn't. It's the same thing you and I are dealing with the video platforms. It doesn't have a lot of the features, therefore it makes my life a lot more complicated.
It's great for some things, like it works wonderful with locals, and it works fine with you know, certain aspects of your website and things like that, but other things it doesn't do. So then what are you left with? You're left with like Venmo, right, which is owned by PayPal. Fucking difference. But also, and this was Michael's point, and then I brought some things that he, you know, is all of these other payment systems are much more phone-based, right? They're much more convenient. They're much more phone-based, but all of them are like, a lot of them use QR codes, right, for things. And a lot of them are like this, you know, like things like Cash App and different stuff like this. Like it's really getting people to abandon PayPal is largely getting them move to having all of their payment information on their phone, right? Which is a whole different ballgame. And if you like, one of the things I noticed when I was working at the festival and stuff this week, and I've noticed this at like parties and things like that, a lot of these places are cashless, and they want you to use Venmo or Cash App or, you know, that kind of stuff, right?
That's a hard no, please.
Everyone know for me too, right? It's a hard, yeah. I'm just saying. So if you have people who are deleting PayPal because they're mad about that, right? Then they think they're choosing these other things as like a solution. Well, it's not perfect, and I don't really like the phone thing, but they're not going to steal $2,500 from me. But it's a soft step towards conditioning, doing all that stuff through your phone and doing everything cashlessly, and a much quicker step towards social credit type of tracking on the phone. Because I also happened to be listening to the same morning somebody talking about how, like, in China, a lot of people are forced to keep certain apps on their phone that track them all the time, right? Including Americans who go there and visit. Sometimes when you're coming in through customs and whatever, they force you to put certain apps on your phone. And these apps that are about just like, you know, easy payment with the QR codes, we don't know what the fuck else they're doing, right? But everyone's like, oh, it's so easy, and I did this to sort of stick it to the man about the PayPal thing and whatever, right? Think about, you have all these people going around #delete PayPal, and at least 50% or more of the solution to getting rid of PayPal would now be phone-based payment systems, as opposed to, because the person who doesn't have certain things can't even have Stripe. If you don't have a business or a website, you can't even have Stripe.
Yeah, Stripe was kind of hard to get. Well, what's interesting about this is the timing of all these things popping up, like a glorifying Candace Owens. It's so interesting, the timing, because only like literally a month ago, when I was moving my business off of PayPal, I was doing all this research, and there were not nearly as many options as all of a sudden just appeared this week.
Right.
Those didn't agree. And given like G. Biden's, you know, that scary
G. Biden
he gave with that like dark red fascist thing, like all these things that are like for patriots, I'm not going to sign up for those either. That feels like I feel like we're being herded left and right. That's why I'm like,
I never do anything that is for patriots. I'm just completely anti doing anything.
No, which is frustrating for me because I feel like that would be a really great market for my pop propaganda book.